So you grew up in Tijuana, Mexico, and you started your law enforcement career in 2004.
Yeah.
Um, and doing my research, it sounded like you were in med school. You wanted to be a doctor,
Yeah.
and and it sounded like your law enforcement career was kind of something that you were doing just to get you by while you were in med school. And then you go on to say that it took a very different turn, and
Yeah.
you,
So 9/11. Where were you at 9/11? What did you do after 9/11?
I was in the military.
Awesome. Uh, that was completely like beyond the scope of my. I didn't want to do anything weapons related. I didn't want to serve. I didn't want to do anything like that. 9/11 happened and it turned the economy it put the economy in the toilet along the border region, specifically in Tijuana, which lives off the border, right? Border times went longer because of all the new security precautions, and the border was actually closed for the first time in recent history was during 9/11. That affected my family's business and my own ability to kind of maintain myself. Um, and I couldn't afford to stay in medical school. So I had to look for options, right? Saw an ad in the newspaper that they wanted young, unmarried, no kids, bilingual young men for government work. I thought it was going to be community policing or some sort of information analysis type thing. And all of a sudden, I was going through paramilitary training and getting my hair shaved off by a bunch of Mexican Gafe guys. And I didn't know what I was in for.
Yeah.
There was this open door when we go in there. The academy that I went to was a regional academy. It was basically a refurbished prison. So they made this prison in this hillside, and they discovered after they made it that there's a lot of fog there. So it wasn't an optimal place to put a prison.
Mm-hmm.
But a police academy, they can get away with that. So it was not good enough to be a prison, but they turned it into a police academy, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
We were treated. They told us at the start. There was this colonel there. He said, "We have two things for you: pan y verga, which is bread and dick." And guess what? Bread ran out 2 days ago, so all you're getting is dick, right? They had this open door policy there. You can just walk out if you wanted to. You wanted to quit. And they treated us like human refuse for about 2 months, 3 months. Basically, while we were going through that FBI background checks were being done, polygraph exams, background financial checks. They were looking into our families. And a lot of people would get pulled out during the whole process.
So just backtracking real quick. So you were already being fed into like almost an elite unit of the police force right from day one.
Yeah, they were training us up to do something, and I didn't know exactly what that was, but I was getting an idea because of the type of people that were training us. Basically.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to be an analysis job, listening to phone calls, maybe translating stuff that I would hear somewhere in an office somewhere, and all of a sudden I was getting handed a ballistic vest, a Glock, and a G3 rifle. Just told to go on. They would give us a badge, and then they would tell us, "Just don't put it on. This will get you killed if you see this badge."
Shit.
So yeah, it was pretty badly organized. The training was very low quality. I remember getting trained how to shoot a Beretta 92 FS pistol, a 9mm Beretta 92 FS pistol. And I shot 20 rounds out of it while going through basic training there.
Shit.
And when I got out, I got a Glock inside of a case. And I've never seen a Glock before. It's like looking at this thing, like, where's the safety? Like, where's the, I was like trying to figure this out. It was that type of retarded low-level training, and you make fun of the guys that get the AK-47 shot around them to get them acquainted to combat.
Yeah.
I was one of the guys on the ground getting shot with that AK-47 around to get them acquainted to. All it gave me was bad hearing and whatnot. That's a good way to make deaf and dumb people. But that was what we had. That's what they had to give us, right?
Damn.
Um, that lasted about a little bit over 6 months, and then it was off to the races, and stepping into the beginnings of what turned into the drug war, like the major parts of the drug war.
How bad was how bad were the cartels at that time when
They
you
were pretty
joined?
bad, but it was the beginning of the modern fractioning, which turned into like the worst parts of the drug war. This was right before Felipe Calderon, the conservative to the right president, basically declared open warfare on the cartels. This was the president before him was in power. He was starting to push for some of these policies. And all of a sudden, we had 2006 roll around and it kicked off. It was like there was bad stuff and violence happening, but he basically militarized and basically gave a white card to governors across the country to do whatever they had to do to go after the cartels.
Oh shit.
So that's when things really got interesting. There was a lot of fractioning going on with high-level cartel guys being grabbed and the one cartel turning into two, allegiances being tested around the country, and kind of the violence being orchestrated by cartel on cartel and also government on government. So you would run into a town where the state police was on the payroll of one cartel, the local municipal police was on the payroll of the other cartel, and the local military barracks were on the payroll of another cartel. So
Shit.
it was you trust no one, like the smoking man and the X-Man and the X-Files used to say. That's first lessons that I got was trust no one.
Damn. When Calderon took over in 2006, from the research I did, it sounded like that was like a fucking switch got flipped.
Yeah.
And I read that they estimate over 250,000 people have been murdered.
Those
from
are
that point on.
official numbers, so it's probably more.
Yeah.
Also, they don't count the people that went missing.
Yeah.
Body disposal turned into an industrial effort in places like Tijuana, where the famous stew maker was active. So what happened is that Felipe Calderon basically federalized the efforts against drugs, and he put the military into the fight. And he also took certain elements of the police forces and embedded them with the military, which was some of the stuff that I did, because we had arresting powers and they didn't. And also we knew our way around some of the places where they were operating. So one of the places where I worked was in Baja, and I got to see the stew maker, and actually got to meet him and talk to him. The stew maker was employed by by an elements of the Sinaloa cartel. He used to actually work for the Tijuana, the Arellano Felix cartel, but there was a split that happened, and he went over to the Sinaloa side. He said that he was trained how to get rid of bodies by Israeli specialists that the cartels brought in to train them, right? And that was like suspect when I heard it. It sounds like something that's kind of made up. But then I saw some elements of actual experience and craft in what he was doing. So he basically made caustic soda to get rid of the bodies with a lot of stuff you can buy at any hardware store. Didn't get a lot of attention because he would always dress like an albañil, like a worker, like a construction worker. He would, make his caustic mixture, put a body in there without any clothing on. He would cut grid patterns on some of the tattoos and the face to get rid of that first. And he would dump that into a sand grater and get some of the solid pieces and put it in the next batch. That's a sign of craft. Somebody showed him that. So it makes me wonder. The amount of people that he got rid of as far as the bodies go is unknown. There's different estimates out there. I don't know. Like nobody knows. But a whole generation of young people disappear in that city.
Yeah.